And now they're calling for a draft in the UK for young people as well. An army chief says that everyone in the UK needs to think like troops. Okay, what does that mean? You need to think like a soldier because they want you to think you are at war. Look at this graphic. These are the countries that NATO wants to start pulling troops from to reach 90,000 in order to, as the Sun says, prepare for World War III drills or do drills for World War III. Okay, so all those countries there, they want your warm bodies. They want your teenagers. They want your sons and daughters. Lithuania has been waving their hands for a few weeks now saying, we're ready. We got people. We'll go. This is happening because Ukraine has allowed its army to die off. So if you think you're not following them in these footsteps, you are mistaken. And now they've had to implement draconian draft rules, and Ukrainians are trying to flee in order to avoid further conscription. Some dying while they are fleeing. Just last week, these 6 people died trying to swim away. They're so desperate to get away from Ukraine. So young people of Europe, is this your future? Dying or escaping a country that wants to throw you into a war that you do not buy? Well, British MP Andrew Bridgen says, actually, we're already at war with Russia, and they're just not telling you that. And he has a timeline for when we are going to be given this, and it lines up with this German draft deadline that we just learned about. Remember, I said they'd tell us in June? So listen to what he has to say.
Rishi wants out. We are actually at war with Russia now.
We've got.
They haven't told you. Haven't told you.
So say that again.
We're actually at war with Russia now. I met with Andrei Kelin, the Russian ambassador in London, a couple of months ago, and he said that we know that your people are firing those Storm Shadow missiles at us out of Ukraine because you couldn't train the Ukrainians to do it. We know you're doing it, and I mean everybody knows that there are lots of US, UK, French. The French are in there.
I thought it was the Brits were down on the ground and special advisors and training sessions and teaching them and showing them.
Isn't that how?
But they were apparently, that's how we started with the Vietnam War.
Vietnam War, yeah.
Dude, what the frack are we doing poking the bear? That's really stupid.
They're determined to get us into a war with Russia, and thank God we've got someone in Putin who at least has got some brains.
Now you sound like a Putin lover.
Well, I'm not. I'm not convinced any of them are any good. But at the end of the day, if you look at the facts, since 91, we've moved NATO 1,000 miles nearer to Moscow. They haven't moved nearer to us.
No, they haven't.
Okay. Now, I want to apologize. Normally I catch the F words and try to bleep them, and I forgot. So I apologize for that. I just missed that one. That one's on me. Now, he later says that this war is not wanted by anyone who is, you think of, that's a leader. This is Agenda 3030 from the World Economic Forum, and that the 0.1% of the richest people in the world want this, and they don't care that your teenager will be drafted or the young person in your life will be drafted. They don't care at all. Watch.
It's not a race between the blue and the red team to see who crosses the finishing line. This is a baton handover. Exactly. On all the big issues, net zero, COVID response, the WHO, the trans agenda.
Who's pushing it then? Who's pushing it? Who's pulling the levers?
It's Agenda 2030. It's the World Economic Forum, the 0.1% of the richest people in the world. And
the globalists?
The globalists, yeah. The people who make... Listen, to make money, all we'd need is next week's newspapers today, wouldn't we? Well, if you own next week's newspapers, you know what's going to happen and what's going to be reported, regardless of what the facts are. And that's the position these...
So we're heading for war.
And also, yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, we're actually already in it. They're not going to tell the people probably till July or August. Maybe a bit later. And I think Rishi wants out.
But hold on one second. I mean, if we go to war with Russia, we're talking about potentially nuclear war.
I know.
Do they understand what they're playing with?
Well,
here?
We have a nuclear...
We're not playing with fire.
I know. And it goes against all our our defence thinking.
But even
we have nuclear weapons, so that no one would do that to us. So why would we do it to someone who's got 20 times more 30 times more nuclear weapons than we've got?
And not just that, their air defence capability, the S-500, I mean, it's a million times better than what we've got. We've got nothing compared to that.
We've got nothing that can stop any of their...
What is it? We've got Arrow or something? I mean, that can't do jack shit with their hypersonic missiles.
I've seen a report that we just do not have any defence for the UK against the Russian arsenal.
Because you know they've got hypersonic missiles.
Yeah.
We've got nothing against that.
Nothing against that.
Okay, so that's cheerful. But again, did you hear that they will finally admit it in this summer when we get the full conscription plan from Germany? We'll see. Yeah, we're at war. We have been for a while. We need more warm bodies. You in? So July or August, that was not my big plans for the summer. Was it yours to be involved in a war? Let me know what you think of this and whether or not you want anything to do with it. And, normally we say, tell your elected representatives that you don't want this. What he's indicating here is it doesn't matter. They're not actually calling the shots.
It's interesting to think about this massive offensive that's unfolding in the north right now in Russia over the past 48 hours.
Yeah.
Ukraine has no troops left. They have no forces left. And to his point, they're telling them flat out, we know that these Ukrainians are not firing these Storm Shadow missiles. We know that they're not doing the work. We know that they're not. So we're about to come to blows here because NATO is going to have to do something. Either they go home with their football and they pack up and go home, or they're going to have to confront Russia as they inch closer to where these positions are. And so something's going to happen. There's like a game of chicken right now. And I don't think Russia is bluffing on this. Like, this is an existential crisis for Russia, having NATO on its back doorstep right now. So we'll see what these countries do in Europe.
This is Joel 3 and 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, B'Hashem Yashai, B'Hashem Rakok Radash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the video we just watched, which was a segment from the Redacted Show. Now, in this segment, it pretty much revealed that the UK, along with the other NATO countries, Germany, France, and I think Finland, but the point being is that it's the NATO forces that are already at war with Russia. Though right now, they're not saying it out loud, because again, the whole narrative is that it's the Ukrainian army that is fighting against Russia. But as they surmised at the end, Ukraine does not have the men to man the tanks, man the artillery, right? There was even a couple months ago that it was revealed that the Ukrainian soldiers were getting their artillery trajectory numbers from the CIA, because the CIA was running surveillance for them. So the point being is that now it is out in the open. Russia's even come out and said it, that they are now fighting with NATO, with the UN, and with US. Okay, and why is this? Well, it's what I just read. The Lord is moving the chess pieces around on the board, and this rumor of war is just a very small part of the grander scheme that's going on. And what is that grander scheme? Well, like it says here, to bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, basically right there into the land of Israel. So all these rumors of wars, all these excursions, these training exercises, all this is going to serve to bring together all the armies of the world into the Central Valley there in the Levant, which the Bible here refers to as the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is literally right outside of Jerusalem. Okay, And more likely, if looking at the politics of Israel, it's more likely going to be a showdown due to the West Bank, which is the east side of the land of Israel right now, which is being occupied by Palestinians. We're starting to see incursions from Amalek into the West Bank. The settlers are, encroaching more on that land, and that more likely is going to trigger the biblical prophecies of Iran and the Arabs, right? Ishmael coming out to wage war with Edom. Now, let's read this. This is Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into the land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Now, the events that we just heard about, right, where that man admitted that they already know that the UK is already at war with Russia, right? That Berlin is getting ready to bring back the draft. The UK is going to bring back the draft, and you're pretty much have already seen it with the legislature here in the Babylon the Great, America. They are going to eventually bring the draft back here in America as well. Okay, now this prophecy here tells you that particularly the Lord is going to draw the American army out of America. Okay, and what's going to happen? Well, what did this person, say? That they're planning for a July, August announcement that we're at war. Okay, we're more likely going to see big movement as far as policy and ultimately acknowledgement from the the White House or Senate or Congress, right, declaring, and they probably won't even declare a war to get around legal limitations. They're going to probably declare special military operation or some bullshit like that. But the point being, Akim, is we're in that time. Right? We're in the time of war. Right? Things are starting to heat up. Like the beloved elder Malcolm said, right? The elect has more likely already been sealed, right? The apostles have backed that statement. And on top of that, now we're at the point where the man of perdition, the man of sin, is also being revealed. And we could see this on the news every day. We could see Esau panicking and trying to bring out these distraction media news stories with Puff Daddy and all these, different groups. Nobody cares. People are blocking these celebrities because they don't care anymore about the vapid life. People are starting to awaken to what's going on. Now, yes, it's there's a grand awakening just because things have gotten so bad, and Esau's fierceness has come out and has woken people up to who the devil really is and what they're about. But ultimately, within that awakening of the masses is the awakening of the children of Israel. Okay? This is because one thing it tells you here is that the Lord is going to remove this army from America. Now, why is the army going to leave America? Yes, there's training exercises, but there more likely is going to be some sort of declaration of war that's going to cause the U.S. Army to deploy, okay, to fulfilling this prophecy of the Lord taking the northern army off of the Israelites here in America. And again, the Israelites, just to reminder, are the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline. Those are the predominant Israelites of today. Now, this war, this event that's going to take place over there in the Eastern Hemisphere, it ain't going to be Armageddon, right? That comes at the very end. But what's going to happen is the rumors of wars, right? What did tell us in the book of Matthew, right? What did the Messiah himself said? He said, this is Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Wars, more than one. We're going to see the Ukraine war. We're going to more likely see the Taiwan war, We're going to see a North Korea incursion, more likely with South Korea. And America is going to more likely be there. There's going to be a war between Iran and Israel. And then that's ultimately going to be one of the major wars that's going to lead to Armageddon. You got Yemen versus Saudi Arabia. You have a lot of hotbeds around the world which are about to blow any moment now. So that being said, there's going to be a lot of wars, and that's going to fulfill, or that's going to cause, I should say, this prophecy that it tells us in 2nd Ezra 16 and 34. In the wars, right, look at this, more than one. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Let's actually start here. I'm going to start at 33. Because you got to remember, right, we're going to go into some crazy times. They're likely going to announce a dollar destruction by the end of this year, and more likely the new currency, the digital CBDC, Federal Reserve digital currency, is more likely going to be launched by the end of this year or beginning of next year. But we're going to see this happening, and in this, we're going to see wars break out. Right, a war is going to be a great distraction from all the events taking place now. Right, in Redacted was even talking about it, that people are saying that there may not be an election. Right, and we've all heard this rumor that Biden's administration is going to claim war powers and cancel the elections, just like Zelensky did in Ukraine. And why is that? Well, because like it's been said, these people, these Edomites that are pushing for this, they know what's at stake. They know this is their only turn, so they're gonna go, full throttle. And this is why we're seeing the most wickedness coming out of them now. But what did it say? Let's start at 33. The virgins shall mourn, right? And the virgins is just talking about the women out here, the young marriageable women, shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. Right? Why are their bridegrooms gonna be gone? Why are the men gonna be out, not around? The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Now, all we have to do to see this prophecy come to pass is look at the example of what's going on in Ukraine. A whole generation of young men have been wiped out. The military-aged men in Ukraine are gone for. They're dead. Right? They're now fighting. The average age of a Ukrainian soldier is like 40, 45. Okay, and I think now they're conscripting younger children, and they've also conscripted women into this war. But the point being is that though Ukraine is being used as a money laundering system, it is also being used as a depopulation method. Okay, it tells us in the books, right, the New World Order, it tells you that they're going to use war, right, along with famine, along with plagues, to depopulate the world. Okay, and Ukraine, the youth of Ukraine, Zelensky and the heads there that are partying in Paris with their Bentleys and I'm sure their prostitutes, they sold out the men of that country. Okay, and now the old men are there being forced to fight, and ultimately are going to have to die off, knowing they got no future generations to take over. But that's another story, right? Ukraine ultimately is going to, Esau, Amalek, I should say, is looking to turn Ukraine into the new Israel. And why is that? Well, because when these Amalekites, Edom, came out of the Caucasus Mountains around, Amalek came out actually before that. He came out around like the 600s, right? And he dwelt there at the base of the Caucasus Mountains, which is known as Khazaria. But, I don't want to digress. That's a whole other thing. But the point being is that we're in for a crazy time, because not only, do we have the economy's destruction looming, but we also have the manufactured famine that we've been seeing, the destruction of all the, poultry places, the meat, the grain being destroyed, right? The destruction of the supply chain. All this is going to lead to this, that those men that do survive, and if they don't got the Lord on their side, they don't have that spiritual protection, they're going to be caught up in Esau's scheme to depopulate the world, right? That being the famine, right? You ask your average American, right, how to start a fire, how to, store food, how to make food, right? Most people go out to these fast food places, man. They don't even know how to make, ground beef. They don't know how to make a steak, right? Most people can cook is an egg if you've applied yourself. Most people don't even know that. They'll eat cereal and junk food, fast food, things like that, McDonald's, Taco Bell. And what does the Bible warn us about? Right? It tells us here, John the Revelator gave us this warning. He said, this is Revelations 11:14. The second woe, which is World War II, is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right? Because John the Revelator, seeing that these devils, these Edomites, when I say Edomites, I'm talking about the Caucasian race, right? They are pushing for these 3 world wars because this is how they take over the world. Now, like it says here, John had seen all the machinations and events and wicked dealings that Esau has done in the background to make sure that these 3 world wars come to pass. And ultimately, he's seeing the quickness that is bringing World War III, right? He sees that the Lord has sped up the time for the elect's sake, right? Like it tells us in the Bible. He sees all the planning and scheming these Edomites are doing to try to take out us Israelites, right? Thinking that if they take us out, that the Lord will have to give them the blessing. But what did the Lord say? He said he said, I shall yet choose Jacob, meaning he's gonna still choose us Negro, Latino, Native Americans, the Israelites, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, this is Acts 17:30. And the times of this ignorance God winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent. So, watching these videos isn't an accident. Right? There are some people who, come across these lessons and just to see what they're about. But if this is one of you who are just stumbling upon these videos and you're kind of sitting on the fence, understand that we're in the last days of the last days. Okay, and it's time for you, if you haven't already, to repent. What does that mean? That means to come back to your original ancient heritage, right? Understand that you're an Israelite. You're not an American. You're not, Englishman. You're not a Spanish or Italian or Japanese or, whatever it be. Okay, you're an Israelite in your respective country of birth. Okay, we are scattered all over the world. Okay, and the seed of Israel today can be predominantly found within the Negro, Latino, Native American race, and it's everywhere else in the world. As long as those people's fathers' lineage goes back to that bloodline. Okay, so coming back, repenting is performing the laws. Remember, we don't have to keep the laws, but by keeping them to the best of our ability while we're in captivity, remember, we can't keep them perfectly, but at least by performing them, we're showing the Lord that we love Him and that we're, paying Him that respect by doing our reasonable service. Okay, so, hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. We can see things are heating up in the background, and we're going to see a lot of crazy things start to come to pass, right? It's already May 13th, so, 2 more months, we're going to start seeing a lot of fireworks, around the world. It ain't just going to be the fireworks from 4th of July. So, hope this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yashai, Ba'Shem Rakak Radash. Shalom.